Hi, it's Vex, and today we are back to our Simic Value Engine roots with Ivy, Gleeful, Spellthief. Oh, I love this card because I feel like this card is a more fair Simic card. It just doesn't generate value on its own. You need to do a little work for it, but it generates a lot of value once you do that work. And it's cool that when you do work, or your opponent does work, it gives you value. Let's read what Ivy does. And I love this. It's a 2 mana value flying commander. So green-blue, legendary creature, fairy rogue. Flying. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. A copy of an aura spell becomes a token. Essentially, a copy of any spell becomes a token. A creature spell, an aura spell, artifact spell, and any spell. I don't know why it says aura. It should just take that out. Anyways, I digress. There's lots of ways to take Ivy, lots of different directions that you can take Ivy, right? First is, what we have here is Mutate, which is the direction we're taking because I think it's the most advantageous one. You could take Ivy in a direction of Spellslinger, where you can target with instants and sorceries, or other creatures' instants and sorceries, and pump Ivy up, or give it some cool abilities. Or you can do Auras, where you target the other creature and then makes a copy and attaches it to Ivy. But those things are not as good as Mutate. As you can see, let's find a Mutate creature here, like Sea Dash or Octopus. The reason I went with Mutate over those other options is because a Mutate creature, when you cast it, does, for its Mutate cost, right here, does target, let's get another creature here, like our friend Toski. So you need a lot of things going on. You need Ivy, another creature, if you want to do it for your own creatures. We'll get to how you can take advantage of your opponents targeting their own creatures. But for now, let's say you have Toski and then you have a Mutate creature. The reason I like Mutate better than those other options is that I could cast Sea Dash or Octopus targeting Toski, and then Ivy's trigger ability will trigger, and then make a copy of that right here onto the stack above Sea Dash or Octopus. So these are on the stack right here. Sea Dash or Octopus can target Toski, and then Ivy would trigger. However, if these are gone, everything's exiled, you can just literally play Sea Dash or Octopus as a creature. And then play Ivy, and then play something else, another Mutate creature, Dream-Tailed Heron, on top of Sea Dash or Octopus. So this doubles as a creature that does target if you pay its Mutate cost, or a creature that can be targeted by other things or other Mutate things later. So it does both double duty. Now, in order to have Mutate, you gotta be careful with your creature types, because Mutate, let's actually read Mutate here. So Mutate, so a creature with Mutate has 2 casting costs. The casting cost as a regular creature, 1 blue for Sea Dash or Octopus. Creature Octopus. Mutate, right here, bring it a little closer. For 1 and a blue, if you cast a spell for its Mutate cost, put it over or under target non-human creature you own. They mutate into the creature on top, plus all the abilities from under it. So there's 2 caveats here. It is a non-human creature, and it's a creature that you own. So if you stole another opponent's creature, you cannot mutate on top of it. Just remember that. I know people forget about the you own part, but that is true. That's what happens. And Sea Dash Octopus, actually we finished reading the ability. Flash, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So how Mutate works is, let's say you have Toski on here. Ignoring the fact, let's say we don't have Ivy. Here, let's just remove all these extraneous things here. We have Toski. We can pay our Mutate cost onto Toski for 1 and blue. So what we could do is essentially Mutate on top. You would just do this, like that. Basically, this would be a Sea Dash or Octopus. Toski is now gone. The legendariness of Toski is gone. The type is gone. It's just the ability. Now you have Sea Dash or Octopus with its own abilities, plus, this spell can't be counter indestructible, attacks each combat, and such like, and etc. Then you can do this, or you can reverse, and then the power and toughness is 2/2, not the bottom one. Or you can reverse this, and now Toski, you can have a Toski, legendary Toski Squirrel, that's a 1/1 with this ability. Of course, you want the bigger creature, non-legendary, so you'd put it on top. That's essentially how Mutate works. We also will get into copying Mutate, but before then, let's. I have the deck list in the description below, so if you want to check that out, don't forget to have all your tokens, and definitely have a lot of copy tokens. And in this situation, you're copying a lot of things, have these Infi tokens, because you're going to copy a lot of your own physical cards, unless you have another pile of Mutate cards that you can just use as tokens, which I do recommend. Before we actually move on to the deck tech and all the cards, I just want to explain that Ivy does say whenever a player, so any player, even your opponents, casts a spell that targets only a single creature, it can target a land and a creature as long as it only targets a single creature. If it targets 2 creatures, it doesn't copy. And the other copy targets Ivy. You may is an important word, copy that spell. So if an opponent plays a Sea Dasher Octopus on one of their creatures, you can copy and put on Ivy, which is really, really cool. Or if an opponent plays a Swords to Plowshares on another creature, you don't have to copy it, so you keep Ivy around. So the optionality is on you to do the copying, which is really cool. If your opponent plays, like Eldrazi Conscription or some ridiculous aura on their creature, you can copy it, which I think is really neat ability that they put on Ivy. Instead of making like a generic Simic Value Engine that benefits you and like Tatiova and such, Ivy is really cool because it's what your opponents play and what you play, and which makes it really interesting. In this deck, it changes based on your opponents and what decks they're playing, and that's why I really like this Simic commander. Essentially, unfortunately, of course, Mutate is only supported in Ikoria and has not been supported since, so I've included every single blue-green Mutate card, which there are plenty of. Hopefully one day we'll get more. This is one of the most complicated Magic mechanics out there, so if you get it wrong, always you look it up and make sure you're playing it right. There are weird things. For instance, like if you cast Sea Dasher Octopus on a creature and if the creature gets removed, the Octopus will just come and play as a regular creature, kind of like Bestow, how that worked. So that just naturally works that way. So you don't get 2 for 1 like with auras and such. All right, we have our blue Mutate creatures here. As I mentioned, Sea Dasher Octopus, Dreamtail Heron, another card draw spell. Whenever this creature mutates, draw a card. So that includes itself. When it mutates onto, let's say, Sea Dasher Octopus, you get to draw a card. Super good. Here, Pouncing Shore Shark. I love this card. It's pretty fun. Whenever the creature mutates, you may return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. But the cool part is it's a shark beast. It's not super good, but it's it can gain you some tempo. Now, this is really cool. Souvenir Snatcher, and this is from the Commander Precon, not in Ikoria, but it came out at the same time. Whenever this creature mutates, gain control of target non-creature artifact. Right, so you can steal somebody's soul ring, all this cool stuff. Now, if that artifact becomes a creature, you cannot mutate onto that because it's not something you own, which is weird, but it is what it is. These two have flash, these have flying. This one, Archiphilagror, I cannot pronounce it. Archie, I call it Archie. There we go. 5 blue, and mutate cost is 6. I forgot to mention that some of these mutate cost less. Right here, it costs 3 then 2. This costs 5 then 4. 5 then 4. Sometimes it costs more. Souvenir Snatcher, because it's really good when it mutates because it steals stuff. This costs 5 then 6 to mutate, and this costs 7 mana value then 6 to mutate. Whenever a creature mutates, tap up to X target creature, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step, so kind of like a stun thing that they introduced in Dominaria. The green Mutate cards. Glowstone Recluse, right there. It costs 3 then 4. Reach, whenever a creature mutates, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, so it gets big, that's why it costs more to mutate. Migratory Great Horn. Where this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land card, put into battlefield tapped. So it's good ramp right here, and it's cheaper too. So what the dream is: play a one mana dork, then mutate, and then ramp right away, and then you have a mana dork that's a 3/4. Gem Razor here, it costs 4 then 3. Reach Trample. When this creature mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. It's really good because it's huge. It's a 4/4 that mutates for 3. And destroys an artifact or enchantment. Sawtusk Demolisher. 6 then 4, which is a steep discount. It's like a 2 mana value discount when you mutate, so it's really good mutating. Trample. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent, even a land if necessary. Then the controller makes it a 3/3. Kind of like a beast within that cannot target creatures. I know a lot of players are all about value. Actually, let's get to this here first before we talked about that. 5 mana value, then 6, so costs more to mutate. Whenever a creature mutates, exile cards from top of your library until you exile X permanent cards, which is super good. Where X is the number of times this card has mutated. Put those permanent cards onto the battlefield. 6/6. Also 6/6. Anyways, what I was saying is like, Commander players love having value. They'll just hold these cards and just not play them. until they can mutate onto a creature. However, if you have an empty board and you need targets to mutate onto or targets for Ivy, just play these cards as regular cards. Like, this is a 3 mana value, 2/3 reach. Still good. It's still a creature that you can mutate onto. So don't be shy about just playing the cards. Not everything has to be max value. And I've seen some players they misplay because they just always want max value. So definitely just play the cards when you have them. Play them on curve, and things should work out for you. We have our last 2 Mutate cards, only 12 Mutate cards. That's about all we can put in our deck. Parcel Beast and Trumpeting Yar. Right there, 4 to cast, 2 to mutate, which is really good discount. Parcel Beast is interesting because it's actually a creature that grants an activated ability. 1 tap, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it into the battlefield. If you don't, put the card into the battlefield, you put it into your hand. So you draw a card or play a land. So I think it's really good. Trumpeting Yar costs 3 to cast, 5 to mutate, which is insane. Whenever this creature mutates, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. So not the best mutating one. Then not a mutate creature, but a mutate synergistic creature, I should say. Like I couldn't figure out the word. Synergy. 1 green, 2/2, so it's good on rate. And it's always good. You always want cheap creatures to play, so you can play with this, play Ivy, play the cheap creature, then play the mutate right away. You want to get your value engine going quickly. Whenever a creature you control mutates with a +1/+1 counter on that creature, you gain 2 life. So it's not the best card. You probably can substitute for another non-human card, but it's just there for fun. All right, now to make mutate even more complex than it is, we're talking about copying. So copying, some of these things do target. Let's start with these creatures. These creatures do not target when they copy. When they enter the battlefield, then you can pick a creature that you would do. The cool part is that, yes, this is a human. It's the only human in the deck, Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. But when you copy, it's not human anymore. The reason we want copying is if we copy a mutate stack, we copy the entire stack. That's how the rules work. I know it's very weird. So let's go back to our example with Sea Dasher Octopus here and see if we can find our little friend Toski. Where is he? Toski, right here. If we play Sakashima onto the battlefield, we would copy the entire stack. It would be like a Toski with Sea Dasher Octopus ability or Sea Dasher Octopus with Toski ability, whichever way you want it. So this would copy both the cards, but it'd be one single card at this point. When the mutate card goes to the graveyard or gets bounced, both cards will get bounced to hand right here, or both cards will go to a graveyard separately. Both cards get exiled. You play an Oblivion Ring, stuff like that. If these 2 get exiled as a mutated stack, they come back as separate creatures. So that's an interesting way. I mean, mutate's complicated. Anyways, so it copies the whole stack. It doesn't copy or remember how many times it's mutated. That just restarts to 0. So the physical card itself has a mutator counter for other mutate creatures. Okay, so with that out of the way, these things copy your own creatures. It's fun to copy your mutate stack. You can also, Sakashima and Spark Double will copy Ivy. So now you can do double Ivy triggers or triple if you have multiple Ivy copies. Glasspool Mimic lets you copy things. So if you could Spark Double and Ivy, make it non-legendary, you can Glasspool Mimic the Spark Double copy. So that's cool. Rite of Replication. This does target. So it's one of the best copy spells in the game. 2 blue. Has kicker 5, so you pay all 9 mana. Put a token on the battlefield as a copy of target creature. Right there. So any target, and then Ivy will get a copy of Rite of Replication. Kicked even, except for Ivy is legendary, so that might not be the best thing in the world. If Rite of Replication was kicked, put 5 of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. However, as we mentioned earlier, these make non-legendary copies, so if you can do Rite of Replication on another creature, on this Ivy, and then the Ivy copy that's non-legendary can get copied, you have tons of Ivies, and then the game will go crazy. So the idea of this deck in the end goal one day is to Rite of Replication a Sakashima Ivy right there, have 5 Ivies from the original Rite of Replication, and then have 2 copies of Rite of Replication on here, have 10 more Ivies, so you have 15 Ivies plus these 2, so you have 17 Ivies. So anytime you play something, you get the spell plus 17 copies, and then you can do more shenanigans if you can copy it some more. So that is called living the dream. That'd be really cool to live the dream. I hope you do too one day. But before we live the dream, we have to keep moving on because I keep getting sidetracked with how cool copying things are. Vile duplication is actually really cool. Let's read this here too. Create a token that has a copy of target creature you control except the token that's flying. Isn't legendary. The creature is legendary. So again, this is a way to get a copy of Ivy on there that's non-legendary. So this gets around legendary. Quasi Duplicate has Jumpstart, so you could just cast it twice. Lijara Mirror Lake is a land that does copying, which I really love. You can sack it, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it enters the battlefield with additional +1/+1 counter on it. Activate as a sorcery. So you make a little copy of your giant mutate stack. Vesuvian Duplimancy, brand new card from Dominaria. Right there, whenever you cast a spell that targets only a single artifact or creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that artifact or creature, except it's not legendary. Again, more of the not legendary theme. Right there, I should have put them together. Oh well. This is any spell that targets only a single artifact or creature. So you could target your Toski, of course, and then it makes it non-legendary. So let's say you do an aura, you could target Toski with an aura, it would target Ivy, and then you'd make a copy of Toski, because that's when you cast a spell, the copy doesn't count as cast. It's really fun to see all the different combination of things that could happen. This deck doesn't get old because it's just so unpredictable, which I love. Anyways, Twinning Staff, right there, 3. If you would copy a spell one or more times, instead copy it that many times plus an additional time, you may choose new targets for additional copies. So it lets you copy the copy, essentially. Then you can pay 7, tap, copy instant sorcery, choose new targets. So that's sweet. This is only instant sorcery you control, I forgot to mention it. Anyways, now that we're having fun, I love copying, by the way. If you didn't notice, in my deck text and everything, every time there's copying, I get really excited. Let's move on. These are like the heroic type creatures based on the heroic mechanic from Theros, like Triton Fortune Hunter. Let's read that. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Triton Fortune Hunter, draw a card. So it's whenever you target something, it does something. So draw a card. That's cool. Right there. So you target this, make a copy for Ivy, draw a card. We have from Future Sight, Spell Wild Oofy. Spells that target it cost 2 less to play. 2 generic less, so that's pretty neat. Storm Chaser Drake, whenever it becomes a target spell you control, draw a card. And then Gnarlback Rhino, when you cast a spell that targets it, draw a card. So it's all about drawing cards or making things less costly. And also you have to remember a little slight difference. This is when you cast a spell that targets it. Here is when it becomes the target of a spell you control. So if a copy of this spell targets Storm Chaser Drake, then it also triggers. So this is actually better than these two because of its slight wording difference. Then we have more creatures that are essentially have built-in protection right here. We have the Slippy Bogle Glade Clover Scout, hexproof 1-drops. So there is a chance, you might get a huge mutate pile going on, then somebody just destroys it with one, murder spell, Doomblade. Then you're just like, I did all that work and then I'll just die. So you need some kind of good protective creatures that you can still mutate on. Again, non-humans. There's Sohala Ledgewalker right there. It can't be targeted spells or abilities your opponents control, so it has a natural little hexproof there. Toski, we mentioned already, is indestructible, so that's built-in protection. It can get exiled, it can get targeted, but by your opponent's stuff or swords, but it does have built-in protection and has good card draw. Whenever creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, which I really love. Speaking about protection, we are making a mutate pile that we keep casting spells and putting them on one creature, and they are a little vulnerable. And also, it's good to have protection with Ivy because you can double protect things. The best protection spell in this deck I think is Slip Out the Bat. Right there. It's also a protection removal spell if necessary. You can disrupt somebody's combo by getting rid of their creature temporarily. Put +1/+1 counter target creature, it phases out. So that's really cool. It phases out as the entire mutate pile, fades back in as the entire mutate pile. I think it's pretty neat. Tameo Safekeeping, Snakeskin Veil, Vines of Vastwood. Essentially give you your creature's hexproof. Vines can pump your creature if you pay the kicker cost. This one does counters, and this one gives you indestructible, and you gain life. So save your creature and Ivy at the same time. I think it's really cool. Indestructible, you could save from like a Wrath of God effect. You could just target one creature, and then it targets Ivy. Then you could keep those 2 creatures. Then we do have auras. Again, I started when I built this deck, I had a lot of auras, and I just realized there is a 2-for-1 factor with aura. Even if you get the extra aura from Ivy, someone can destroy a creature or Ivy in the process. However, these auras are here also to add protection, a layer of protection here. Shielding Plaques, 2 Simic, chant creature, and then when ETBs, draw a card, which I really like. That's why I paid extra mana for that. Enchanted creature can't be a target spells or abilities, opponent control, hexproof essentially. Bear Umbra. Bear Umbra is so powerful. It's an aura enchant creature, and it gets +2 +2 and has whenever this creature attacks, untap all lands you control. So you get a little mana boost right there. If you stack it, you can untap your lands. If you have 2 of these, you untap your lands, tap it, then untap it again. Then it has totem armor, so if the creature would be destroyed, it just this will fall off instead. Other protective spells, I know we could play more targeted spells, but I like Swiftfoot Boots because it's just you can just move it around. Hexproof. Remember, we don't want Shrouds with Lightning Greaves out of the deck. We want Hexproof because we want to target our things, obviously. Heroic Intervention gives you Hexproof, Indestructible. It's just an all-around good card, so we're here just to protect our stuff. Attack with big creatures. This is kind of like a Voltron-ish commander. It's like going wide and going tall at the same time. So these are the protection spells to help keep our dudes alive. Here's some of the removal spells. Here we have 2 creatures that can be mutated on Trigon Predator. I really like this. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. It's flying, so it's evasive and it's a non-human. Bane of Progress. I love Bane of Progress. Destroy all artifacts and enchantments. ETBs. We do play some enchantments, some artifacts, but not a lot. So when this is good, this is really good. You don't have to play it if you don't want to, but this is always really good. Palmify and Rapid Hybridization makes 3/3 creatures with good removal. So there is a trick to this. Here is you could target your opponent's creature, right? And then the copy can target Ivy. But if Ivy is indestructible, it won't get destroyed, but you get the 3/3 green 8 token. So that could be a possibility. If you cast Tameo Safekeeping, you could Pongify something and then Ivy, and then target Ivy with Pongify. It won't be destroyed because it's indestructible, but you make the little creature. So I think that's pretty neat here. Some synergy there. Resculpt, this one exiles, so it's a little different. You don't want to exile Ivy, obviously, but we do need Artifact Hate in this deck, and I really like Resculpt because it just exiles the thing. It just boom. Green and blue don't have a lot of creature destruction or exiling effects, so Resculpt is just good to have. I mean, they do get a 4/4 creature, but the exiling is very important. Colony Ambush. Now, this is like a little anti-synergy. It doesn't actually synergize with our commander because it has 2 targets. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. But I don't normally play this in decks, but it is a mono double face card, and that's why I just want to increase my green count while also having a cool removal spell that I could use, because my Mutate pile is getting big. Bane of Progress could be huge. I could just kill things. So it's not here for the synergy. It's just here for raw power and the fact that it's a mono double face card. Beast Within is one of the best removal spells ever. Got to have that. Cyclonic Rift. Maybe this is the best removal spell ever. Cyclonic Rift. Card draw. I mean, we're a Simic Value Engine, right? We play these 2 cards. We just draw cards. I mean, Ristic Study, Solvent Library. Then Beast Whisper is when you cast a spell, so I love it. It's not when things ETB. Because when you cast a Mutate creature and mutate onto a creature, they don't actually ETB, so Great Henge doesn't actually work, but this is when you cast. So I think it's really good because we're out casting a lot of creature spells to draw cards. Season of Growth is actually an excellent card. It only costs 2. When a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. So that's pretty neat here. But the important part is when you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. So this is any spell that targets a creature, and this is any creature spell. So you can draw you a lot of cards over time. Return of the Wild Speaker. We are playing non-human, and guess what? Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control. For non-human creatures you control, get +3/+3 until end of turn. Those are our card draw. There's also other card draw like Toski and such like that. We have 2 utility cards here. I'd like to mention real quick. Let's see here. Utility where's that little sticker? Utility card right there. And I guess also Graveyard Hate. Balged Recovery and Soul Guide Lantern. Just they're good. They're there. They're useful. Ramp package. Ramp package is mostly a lot more creature based than before. We have our Mana Dorks, our Lawnmower Elves, Elvis Mystic, Finhorn Elves, Bruce Green, Birds of Paradise. They have Marleaf Pixie. I just like this card because it's flying. I love evasive cards. These 2 are flying. So if you mutate, you get the flying. You have my Dryad and Wood Elves. I particularly picked these 2 because these 2 get force from your deck. And we'll see in a bit. The other ramp cards are just 2 mana ramps that can just get you your dual land or a forced and island. Well, this doesn't get forced, but gets you your dual land and Soul Ring, of course. And the reason I've been wanting to get a forest is because this new card from Dominaria, Tangled Islet. They actually came out with common lands of two basic land types, Forest Island. So your Nature's Lore can grab this card, your Wood Elves can grab this card. So it's just I just included it because I just wanted this Tangled Islet in my deck because it's a fun new card from Dominaria United. This is the rest of the mana base here. If I can fit it in the screen, we have Misty Forest that can get our Tangled Islet. If you need an untapped version of it, of course, Breeding Pool is your answer. We have other Simic dual lands along with Command Tower. We do have Lumbering Falls right there from Battle for Zendikar. It adds the Simic colors and it turns itself into a 3 green blue beast creature token that's hexproof. So you can turn it to a creature, attack with it, mutate on it, and then things happen and it turn it's not a creature. I don't know. Look this up. Tell me how this works with mutate because I actually didn't look it up yet. Yavimaya, Beseju, Atawara, Castle Vantra. So more utility cards. Then we have our colorless utility cards. We are playing a 2-color deck, which grants us the ability to have more colorless lands. Even though Ivy does cost green and blue, 2 mana value, we don't necessarily want to play Ivy on turn 2. Actually, we never want to play Ivy on turn 2 unless we have an elf. We play an elf and we could target Ivy with a protection spell or something. But Ivy usually comes later. We play it on later turns, then get value right away. So we have Mirror Landscape, Command Beacon, Rogue's Passage, Scavenging Grounds for our Graveyard Hate, Royal Quarry Tower if we draw too many cards, of course. We have our 2 copy lands because why not copy more things while we're at it. And we have our basic lands, lots of forest because we have Mana Dorks, and then islands. I love doing it. I think 2-color decks are like a sweet spot in the color pie because it lets you run a really good mana base, but it gives you the ability to have a lot more basics than like a 3-color deck, 4-color deck, 5-color deck. I just really like drawing a basic land and just like literally just playing it untapped. It makes the color and it does what it does, and it does what it does really, really well. Anyways, I'm going to shuffle this deck up, but while I shuffle, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos, give the video a like, check out the deck list in the description below, click on the deck list, buy some stuff from TCG Player, help support this channel and me buying ridiculous amounts of cards and mutate cards to make all these cool deck techs for you. And also leave a comment. Tell me how much you like Ivy and how it's been working for you. And leave a comment. Tell me how much you like seeing physical cards being shuffled. I know a lot of content creators like to display cards on screens like, hey, here's a card right there. Boom. It makes it easy. You know what's hard? Putting 100 cards together, playing the 100 cards right here, and just moving through the 100 cards. That's a difficult task. I'll tell you that. It's not easy. I think some of these content creators who shortcut and just display stuff on screen, that's fine. I have no problem with that, but remember, this takes effort. Putting these 100 cards together, and sometimes I don't actually have them, so I have to buy them and wait for them. That's why you see these deck techs a little late, because sometimes I have to buy and wait for them, these cards. So, yeah. Anyways, leave a comment. Tell me how much you like cards. And as you leave that comment, we're going to continue shuffling this deck, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Turn 1 as usual. Now, remember, Ivy is a 2 mana value commander. I don't recommend playing Ivy on turn 2. Ivy is a play where you play Ivy and play something else, gain value right away. If Ivy or whoever else gets killed, you're still good. All right, let's see what we get. We have 2 lands. Turn 1 play. 2 untapped lands, sweet. 3 visits, some ramp. Parcel Beast or turn 2 play if we wanted to. Glowstone Recluse, depends on which way you want to do it. Then Tamio Safekeeping, some protection. I think this is a good hand. Let's keep it. Draw a card. Storm Chaser Drake. Ooh, even another good hand. Okay, so we'll just play the most powerful land in Commander, Command Tower, and play our turn 1 play, Slippery Bogle. Boom. I love turn 1 plays. They're so fun. I wish it was a Mana Dork, but it is what it is, so we'll keep that. Turn 2. Glasspool Mimic. So what do we do? Do we play this card? Do we mutate this card? Next turn, maybe take a turn off and hopefully spike a land? I think we do the parcel. No, well, if I mutate onto this, right, like this, it already has haste, so I could just do the Parcel Beast. So maybe I can save it for next turn. I think ramping is very important here, so we'll just do this, play our 3 visits right there. We can get untapped, a Breeding Pool, or a Forest, or let's get our new favorite Dominaria land we keep talking about. Where are you? See, not Breeding Pool, because Tangled Islet. Yes, I'm so happy I get that land. Actually makes me super happy. Looks pretty cool too. Okay, so we're gonna shuffle it up real quick here. You know, if we're mean, let's just boom attack with our Slippery Bogle. Bam, 39 somebody, or I mean, put him at 39. All right, so we're finished shuffling right there. Bam, live shuffle. It's important to ramp. Ramp is very important. Turn 2 ramp is really good for our deck. All right, turn 3. See what we get. Yavimaya Dryad. Oh, more ramp. What do we do? Okay, we can't play Gospel Mimic as our land for turn. So we'll do that play that we're talked about here. Or we play Storm Tracer Drake right there and then mutate onto that. So we have options depending on where our opponents are playing. If they're playing more removal heavy colors like black and white, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we play the on the hexproof creature versus on the non-hexproof creature. But you know, we are glutton for punishment. All we want is value. Let's just say they are in a removal heavy color. We just want to mutate. So we'll just mutate right onto here, right there. And you know what? Let's look at the top card of our library. Bam, tap that, because this still has this ability and that ability. And it's not summoning sick, so look at the top card of our library. Oh, put in land. Battlefield tapped. Sweet. Is it tapped? Let's make 100% sure. Put into a battlefield. If you don't, oh, sweet. Untapped. Even better. Bam. And then we start with land drop. I am going to play Glassbowl Mimic as the land because we want more land so we can do more things. Okay. We still have another mutate creature for Ivy, just in case, but we got to get the value train started. Before our next turn, we're going to crack our Misty Rainforest, then get our official Breeding Pool. It would have got a Tangled Island if we didn't get it already. But, you know, it's always good to have colors. The correct colors, the mana. Usually people don't play Blood Moon in Commander, so we don't have to worry about that. Yes, I usually would do this during somebody else's turn. Get our Breeding Pool. Yes, that's unfortunate about playing Commander in real life is you just have to, look through your deck and it takes forever. But usually what I do is I say I'm going to get a Breeding Pool, and then I just do it during somebody else's turn. All right, shuffling this deck up. We'll just do here. Turn 3, we got 5 lands into play. A Parcel Beast that has Hexproof, which is super sweet. Play this on top. So it just gets Hexproof, doesn't get the 1/1. Turn 4, untapping. We hopefully draw a land here. Turn 4, untap our little mutate pile here. Draw. Cyclonic Rift, that's not land. We can get a land here. But it's time. Oh, this thing costs 4 to mutate. Gosh, can't play this and that at the same time. Okay, it's not time. It's not time, I lied. It's all about being patient, right? Being patient is here. So we'll just get our Dryad there. We'll just enter battlefield. We may search our library for a force card, put into the battlefield tapped. So we ran out of our dual lands here. We could play the snow-covered dual land too, but I don't have it in the deck because I don't want too many ETB tap lands, so we'll get a forest there. Put it into our deck, and then we'll play our other card. Shuffle again. Love shuffling this deck. Usually you don't shuffle that much, but I guess you do now. Play our Storm Chaser Drake. Okay, so now we're all set up for next turn. So what we'll do is we'll pass. Pass the turn, turn 5. Draw land. Oh, it's not land, but it's a dude. Okay, so now we have 6 mana. We could play our Glowclue's Recluse or Glowstone Recluse and our commander. You can always play your commander first. That's the way to go. We might be able to spike a land off of Storm Chaser Drake if we target it. So I think the idea is we play Ivy. Right there, we'll just tap these 2, play Ivy. There. And then right away before anybody else gets priority, we do this. We'll just do Glowstone Recluse right on top of our Storm Chaser Drake. When it comes to target of a spell you control, draw a card. Okay, so that's on the stack. Then we have a copy on the stack. Let me actually get another copy of Glowstone Recluse to make it easy on us. Okay, got another copy here. I got to put a different gray sleeve so don't get confused. But here is on the stack, targeting here. This is trigger, this is trigger. We'll trigger this first, and then we'll trigger Ivy second. We'll draw a card. Right there, Otawara, perfect. A land, not green land, unfortunately, but a land. And then this is on the stack. This is still on the stack. We resolve this. We will mutate Ivy with this guy here. And then it says when this creature mutates, +2/+1/+1 counters on it. Boom. So now I have a flying Ivy still ability, non-legendary, which is super sweet. So you can copy Ivy. 2/3 +2, so it's 4 or 5. This one, we put this one on top because it's better power and toughness. Another Glowstone Recluse there. And this also will get +2/+2. Right there, and then we'll just play our Otawara that we just drew. And then these are cards in our hand. I wish it was a green card, but you know, we might be able to spike a green card so we could just Parcel Beast, tap that. Oh, blue, we'll just put in the battlefield untapped. Parcel Beast is pretty neat here. All right, past the turn. So now we got our engines moving here. We'll untap here. Parcel Beast hexproof. This is hard to untap with your giant mutate piles, but we will survive. Heroic Intervention. So what we could do is if we want a card, we could just target our Storm Tracer Drake, Glowstone Recluse dude. But what we could also do is just, you know, tap our Parcel Beast again. Look at the card. Oh, Quasi Duplicate. We'll take that. Oh gosh. This is non-legendary now. Remember that? So now I have to get another Ivy. Oh god, I need more cards. So, what do we want to do? You know what? We're going for gold here. That Parcel Beast really paid off for us. So we're going to 2 blue and a green. We're going to Quasi Duplicate this guy here, and then we'll have a copy of this spell on the stack that's going to target Ivy. Okay, so what's going to happen is this is going to trigger, draw a card. We're going to do that first. Okay, turn a Wild Speaker. So now we have a copy of this guy here. It doesn't get +2/+2 counters, so this is a copy of this right here. Well, this copy of Ivy targets first. Okay, so I have a copy of Ivy here because this one's still on the stack. Right there. Okay, this copy retains all characteristics except for the counters. Still has Ivy's ability and such. This one will resolve here, make a copy of this one on the stack. Now onto the battlefield. It has mutate 0 times because the mutate counter belongs to the physical object itself, not the copy. Okay. So turn 6. We need more room. Let's make more room here. Okay. So now that that's resolved here, the craziness can begin because our friend, Quasi Duplicate, has Jumpstart. So you may cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. Then exile that card. So we are going to discard. We don't need this Pixie anymore. So we do need blue, blue, blue. We'll discard this card. We'll exile Quasi Duplicate as it resolves. What we'll do is now, super confusing, I know, is we will target, doesn't matter, these two are the same, identically the same, so we'll just target this. And now 2 Ivies will trigger because we have 2 Ivies. And then 2 Ivies will trigger here. So we'll get a copy of this Ivy, and then we'll get another copy of that Ivy, and then we'll get a copy of this guy here. And you draw a card for that targeting. Boom, another one of these. That's beautiful. Oh, that great. Parcel Beast hooked us up. Okay, so we are hooked up for next turn. We have 4 copies of Ivy. So any target we do, let's hypothetically, let's just play our next turn here. I do not have enough Migratory Great Horns for everything. Unfortunately, actually I might. Let's just see. All right, turn 7. This is the fun turn here. Okay, Quasi Duplicate exiled from my battlefield. I exiled the wrong card. This is my exile pile here. We've drawn Migratory Great Horn, untap here. Okay, So what we'll do is we'll cast the Migratory Greathorn. This is absurd. We'll just tap green, green, blue, blue. Keep our dual lands open. Okay. Migratory Greathorn. When this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land card, put it in the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Okay. So we're going to mutate onto this guy, the non-Ivy person. We'll just put it onto this guy here. Right. A bunch of things will trigger. All the 4 Ivies will trigger. This guy will trigger. We'll just draw a card first. And then we'll make 4 copies of Migratory Greathorn on here. Let's just pretend, because we get close to the end of the video. No, I'll get the real thing. Be right back. We did it, folks. It took longer than I wanted to. I went through a lot of bulk boxes to find these. Anyways, let's resolve everything here. This one will get a trigger from the Recluse there. These, let's just do them all at the same time. You get 4 Migratory Greathorns. Let's just put this on here. We'll get a trigger. And then each of these will go on top of a copy. Of our Ivy, whatever, Majigger. On top, not bottom. I guess this is on top. I just put it the wrong way. Gosh, this is confusing here. All right, we have each of these little guys here. They each get counters, right? And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basic lands to grab. Need to be tapped, so it's forest. Let's grab the next 5 basic lands that we can find. Doesn't even matter because we're probably gonna run out of basic lands eventually. Super cool. Forest, island, forest. Boom. Now that we've gone off, I feel like the game is doing really well for us. And for our turn there, boom. 4 mana left, some protection spells, Cyclonic Rift, Heroic Intervention. We can cast 2 of these. Boom. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, enjoy all the little cool mutate tricks, give the video a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be alerted for new videos in the future. Again, I have the deck list in the description below, so you can check out the deck list. I would advise you to have multiple copies of each mutate card because it gets incredibly hard to keep track of right there. As you can see already, I have my copy cards, my mutate cards, mutate on mutate. This is a slippery parcel beast here, Ivy there. This deck is super fun. I'm definitely going to keep this deck around, play it. I think, I didn't mention in this little gold fishing session, but you know, if your opponent targets your stuff, or targets their own stuff with auras, you can also get a copy of those. Definitely need a stack of these Infi tokens and a marker to write them all down because it's going to be incredibly hard to keep track of, but I think it's super duper fun. Look at all those fun tokens. Now, if you get like 17 or 20 Ivies, then, you know, I don't think my bulk box has that many cards in there. Anyways, don't forget to leave a fun comment below. Tell me how much you love this deck, how much you want to build this deck. Definitely in the comments below. Also, deck list, again, in the comments. TCG Player affiliate links and all the cool affiliate social links in the comments below. And that is it. Have a wonderful day.